Yes, once again, welcome to this marvelous YouTube channel. Tonight we have some simple lectures on our some of our information sources. So today we are going to look about the information sources. So this is our presentation for today. Uh, so this is the display of what you're going to look about through this day. So we are looking about information sources. So including the information sources, we shall have the introduction on the information sources, types, definition, ethics, and examples. So let's look for our introduction of this video. So here is the introduction on information sources. So they're saying information sources are materials, records, or documents that provide data or knowledge on a particular subject. These sources serve as the foundation for research, inquiry, and decision-making across all academic, professional, and everyday contexts. Information sources can vary in type, format, and accessibility, and they can be classified in different ways depending on the nature of the information that they provide and how they are used. So in general, they provide information to us. There are, let's say, documents that provide data to us where we can get information about some things. So we have types of information sources, and we have the primary source and the secondary source. So on the definition, we are saying primary source. A primary source is a direct or a first-hand piece of evidence that created at the time of the event, or by someone who directly experienced the event or phenomenon. It has not been altered or interpreted by others and stands as an unmediated piece of information. So this primary source, in other words, it is a source that is direct, that is not mediated. Let's say you have paperwork, and that paperwork is not mediated. Paperwork is not mediated. You're reading it at first hand. No one is telling you about any other information. It is what we call primary source, that is directly experienced at the event. Let's say a news reporter is getting information at first hand, but you who is reading a newspaper, or you who is listening to TV, you're getting information that is mediated. So someone who doesn't get information that's not mediated through a media, if you get information through a media, it is not a primary source. But if you get it at first hand, at the point of the event, when it is happening, you're getting it from the primary source. So as we continue with our presentation, we have what we call the secondary source. So a secondary source is one that interprets, analyzes, or summarizes primary sources or events. It is one step removed from the original material and often provides a broader perspective or critical insight into the primary data. So this is giving us an insight that a secondary source is one that interprets, analyzes, and summarizes secondary sources. So after getting the information at first hand, it is summarized into a piece that is easily understood, or a piece that will sum up an event. Let's say it was a fight, but someone will summarize it, a fight between a couple, and it is really understood. So primary sources and secondary sources differ in a way that the primary source is the source that it is a direct or first-hand piece of evidence, but a secondary source is that one that interprets, analyzes, and summarizes. It's like going into the primary source and scooping the information and putting it in a right ordered manner. Because if you remember, during collection of data, you can't collect data in a summarized form. So you collect the data from different primary sources. Let's say at that event you're asking different interviewees. So at the end of the day, you go and analyze the data and summarize it. That's now secondary source. So as we continue with our presentation, we are going to talk about one of the ethics of these types of sources. So in primary sources, originally, we have originality, we have raw data, we have unmediated evidence, we have time-related evidence. So these are statistics showing that this information is really from a primary source. So taking at first-hand information, let's take it like for primary source originality. These sources are the first to provide information about a particular event or a subject. They are unaltered, direct records that offer original thought or raw data. So we're saying that raw data, primary sources often present raw, unfiltered information. For example, scientists' original lab notes may have data that could later be analyzed and interpreted in secondary sources. So we have unmediated evidence for primary source, one of the ethics of primary source. Unmediated evidence, there is no interpretation or analysis from another person. The source itself is the evidence. You are at the scene, you're collecting information from the scene, so that's a primary source. Time related, they are closely tied to the moment in which they were created, making them especially valuable for understanding historical, cultural, or social context. The same during the migration of the Bantu. It is directly connected to the time when the migration took place. So as we go on, we shall have the rest of the video, the information. We shall be talking about the ethics of secondary source and the examples of how these sources can. So we shall have them in our next video. So keep following us, keep viewing our videos, keep commenting in this way. But on our YouTube channel, it is Kisembo Steven. I remain as your teacher who will always tutor you through these basics of the information literacy. So let's be together in this. See you in the next video. Thank you.